Evening all. Thank you for joining me. Give us a thumbs up. Let me know you can hear me clearly.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. You're a bit too loud and clear there, Don. Right then. So let's get stuck into it. So, how to manage back pain, and you'll see there that I've called this talk "How to Manage Back Pain" because back pain isn't just as easy as just like do these stretches and it will go. For a lot of people, you're actually trying to just manage it and like make it less painful. It's pretty much as simple as that, really. So, what we'll go through are the common causes of back pain, how to manage and reduce back pain, the top three core exercises, and our top three sort of mobility warm-up exercises that I would recommend. So, first off, the common causes of back pain. Oh, missed a slide already. Sorry. Okay, so just to note, there are many causes, but these are what I have found in my experience. So really, back pain is very complex. It's never just as simple as one thing. So causes of back pain, being in one position for too long, so whether that's sitting or standing, you predominantly hear it from people that have been sat for too long, and that's when I feel it the most. Not warming up properly, tightness in and around the hips and the thighs, weak or underutilized core and glute muscles, and obviously any accidents or sports injuries that have actually caused like a back injury. So they're usually the common causes of what like I have seen in my experience from that leads to back pain. And you probably know this a bit yourself as well. So the problem with back pain that I found again is that it can become quite a vicious cycle. So you sort of start off in this position here where like your back is sore. So you generally begin to do less exercise or less movement because it's like, ouch, my back hurts, I'm gonna sit down and pretty much do nothing. So that tends to be like what I would sort of see straight away is that, and sometimes I do this as well, is like you have a bad back and you don't want to do anything because your back is sore. So that vicious cycle then leads into you like your back becoming worse, and your back becomes worse because you are moving less. And that's not to say that like resting isn't a good remedy for back pain, because it is sometimes. But general like dull aches or shooting pains, like most people like will end up just moving less because it's easier to do that than to sort of do something about it. So because you're moving less, your back then weakens more and tightens up more. And then a lack of movement leads to weak and tight muscles. So it is a vicious cycle then, because this is then just leading to more back pain, which generally leads to moving less. So that can be like the vicious cycle that you can get into. So obviously these are your common causes. Then this is the vicious cycle of what you can get into. So generally like moving less and then leading to tight and weak underused muscles. Okay, cool. So how to like manage and reduce back pain then? And um, really there is many ways you can do this. There is so many ways. Like there's many ways that I haven't put in there. So like I've not mentioned anything to do with sports massage. Sports massage is amazing, but I could list 15, 20 different ways that you can manage and reduce back pain. So I've just tried to sort of bring it down to like what I would sort of recommend. Again, there's no right or wrong with this. It's just sort of remedies that I would recommend for you to go with. So how to manage and reduce back pain. So ultimately, we need to work on these. So we need to work on not being in one position for too long. We need to work on warming up properly, work on the tightness in the hips, work on these weak and underutilized core muscles. So when we're talking about the core, we're talking like it's not like the core muscles aren't just around here. It's pretty much anything from like your rib cage all the way down to like the middle of your thighs. So don't just see your core muscles as like your abdominals. Your core muscles are literally the core of your body. And again, accidents and sports injuries, there's ways as we can sort of work around it. So let's have a look. So being in one position for too long. So actively move regularly before your back begins to become sore. So what people tend to do, and I've had this conversation with Annette and even Sophie as well, to be fair, a few times, is that people tend to go and see a sports therapist when their back begins to hurt, sort of like you would do with like a car MOT. You go when there's an issue, which isn't always the best thing. You want to like be looking after yourself and not getting to that point of pain. So what I recommend is actively move regularly before your back begins to become sore. So if you know that you're sat down for 3-4 hours a day because you're working on a laptop, or you just generally sat down and your back begins to hurt after a couple hours, don't wait until your back begins to hurt to do something about it. Try and move after an hour and a half before that pain starts to kick in. Really simple. So not warming up properly. So again, super simple, but arrive to your sessions, whether that's Zoom or when we're in the gym. Arrive to the sessions before they start. So don't arrive bang on the minute and get into it. Try and arrive there a few minutes before, just so you can make sure you're making the real most of that 5-minute sort of mobility warm up that we have. And after this talk, on the members site, you're going to see a video under this video, which is called the top 3 core exercises, and we will dive into that in this talk as well. But so watch that video and do these core exercises in your warm up. So, and I'll dive into that bit. But yeah, so arrive before your session. And the good thing about Zoom is that obviously you can spend 5-10 minutes warming up before your session, doing these core exercises. And it just gives you a little bit more oomph before your session gets started. So tightness in the hips. Again, similar to what I said about the core exercises, complete the top 3 mobility exercises every day without fail. Don't wait until your muscles and your back and your body become sore. Like, do these mobility exercises before that happens. So you're not becoming sore. Weekly yoga, super important. Highly recommend it. Giving all the good stuff away. So yeah, so complete the top 3 mobility exercises every day without fail. All it needs to be is 15 minutes, and get in and do a weekly yoga session, whether that's on a Sunday when we're physically in the gym, or we've got plenty of online yoga sessions you can follow. So weak or underutilized core muscles. So this is sort of a term that it's not a technical term, it's just a term that I thought would be a good way of remembering this. And I've sort of called it like focus when lifting. So again, like I said with the other 2 videos, there's another video that'll be under this, which will say about like what we mean about focus. So, but what it means is, it's like when you're doing like a barbell lift, or you're doing a lift which focuses on a much more full body exercise, deadlift, barbell, like pushing above your head. It's about bracing your core for the lift. So you're not going into it and just sort of putting the bar on your back and going. You're like doing the normal stuff where you put the bar onto your back, but then you're bracing your core in a certain way. So you're sort of switching that core on. And the video that I'll put under this video will explain that a little bit more. A really simple thing is just to be consistent with your training as well. I've just had a week off training, and then I've come back in and I've trained, and my legs are in bits, and they have been for the last 4 days, because I've pretty much taken a week off. Not taking a week off, it was purely by accident, but because I wasn't as consistent for a week, my legs are sore, and to be fair, my back feels tighter. So what is important is you are consistent. So if you can't physically get into a session, for whatever reason, make sure you do. Like you could spend 30 minutes doing the core exercises and the mobility exercises. That's a good little 30-minute workout that'll still do it. So that's what keeps you consistent, keeps your body moving. And with the accidents and sports injuries, there's a term by a powerlifter called Ed Cohen, which is to train what you can train while you fix what you can fix. So the simple way of explaining it is, do exercises that you can do and avoid the exercises that cause you back pain. So don't get annoyed if you can't do deadlifts. Don't be like, oh, Mark, I can't do deadlifts, and then you come around to do it and you get injured, because that's just that's just a bit silly, really, isn't it? You want to do the exercises that you can physically do. If you can do lunges, if you can do RDLs, if you can do other exercises that work the same muscles but aren't the movement pattern that cause the back pain, then do that. So the idea behind train what you can train while you fix what you can fix is train the muscles, but do it in a safe way that doesn't cause back pain. And then work on fixing what you can fix. So that's sort of like doing more of the core exercises that sort of really activates the muscles. So let's get into the top 3 core exercises. So just to note, your core is always working. So even right now, while you're watching this, your core is working. As I'm sat upright, my core is working. If it wasn't, I'd literally be flopped down onto the floor. So no matter what, your core is always working. And again, your core is well trained in the benchmark sessions. So because we do a lot of full body lifts, so anything where you've got a barbell, a dumbbell, any exercise when you've got any sort of resistance, your core is working. So what I want to sort of emphasize in this core exercise bit is focusing on activating the core muscles when you're training. So sort of activating them, and to be fair, you probably hear me or Ben or any of the trainers say, or engage your core, activate your core. It's such a random phrase, and I don't think anyone even knows what it means, to be honest. But activating and engaging your core, you'll understand what that means more once you watch the focus video and once you watch the core exercises video as well. And we'll go through the core exercises. But the term activate just means like you probably in your head sort of understand what it means, but it's sort of like the muscles like actually working, and you can sort of feel like the muscles active. So if you're like this now, and then you squeeze your arms, you can feel that they become active. And it's about creating some sort of tension before you do the lift. So your core is braced, like as though you're about to get punched in the stomach. Your core is braced, and then you do the lift. And again, it's your core muscles working then more, as opposed to sort of your lower back taking the brunt. And do watch the focus technique video. Again, it's only a few minute video. It's very brief, but it sort of just gets into your head about a way of breathing and bracing as you're doing this, as you're about to lift. So top 3 core exercises. The Clam, what a fantastic name. So, and it's not to say that these 3 core exercises are the holy grail. It's just that they are really good exercises. Every core exercise is a good one. These are just 3 that I would recommend. So, number 1 would be this Clam exercise. So the muscles you use are your glutes, so your bum muscles. So the side core muscles. I'm not sure if you can. Oh, right. Let me just see if I can. I don't know if you can see this mouse, but basically, can you see the mouse on my screen? Yeah, cool. So basically, yeah. So obviously, side core. So your core, you've got loads of different muscles intertwined. It's not just like you've got your abs. You've got lots of different muscles in there, and they all flow in different directions. So this sort of formation of your muscles, like in a different pattern, is what enables you to sort of twist and bend and like extend. And these side core muscles, so basically along here, or sorry, this side, that's what's really getting worked. And these glutes, and these glutes here, and to be fair, your glutes on this side, because obviously your leg is pushing against that resistance, you just really feel your glutes working. And to be fair, you get a bit of shoulder work in there as well. So this will be on the video, but this is one really good exercise that I'd recommend to do before your session to really get those muscles working. And just do about 5 to 15 reps with a 3-second pause as you sort of pull up. And I would recommend using a band on this because you really do feel the resistance more. And if you've been training for a few months, you'll just get more out of it by using a band on this exercise. So the second exercise would be a side plank. Me and my fantastic pose there. Goodness me, I need a haircut. The side plank. So the muscles used, again, would be your glutes. Again, it's these side core muscles. Your shoulders are getting worked. and your abdominals are getting worked. So basically all those muscles that I've named here, so glutes, like your side core muscles, your shoulders, your abs, that is your core. So that's loads of different muscles that are within your core. So it's a really good overall exercise. And again, in the video for this part, this core exercise part, you'll get more of an explanation and a demonstration of the exercises. But because this is a challenging exercise, start low and build up. And again, do that 3-second pause at the top. I'd rather you do less reps, do it properly, do it slow, and get that pause at the top. And again, just do about 3 sets, but the video explains a better way of sort of organizing it. The plank rock exercise, one I know Sophie absolutely loves. But the plank rock exercise is really good, and again, it's really good for your lower back, your shoulders, again, your abdominals, obviously your thighs and your glutes are worked in here as well, but they're sort of the main muscles that are worked. So basically, it's a plank position where you're just slowly rocking forwards and backwards. And again, in the video, gives you a bit more of an explanation of how to do it. But go for about 10 to 15 reps, or until you begin to feel it. And again, you're probably doing about 3 rounds of this. The video and this next part explains how to sort of bring it all together. So a little bit of a plan for you would be to start off low reps or timed. So you could just do 30 seconds on each exercise. So 30 seconds of the clam, 30 seconds of the side plank on each side, and 30 seconds of the rocking plank. And you can maybe try and do 40 seconds, a minute, that sort of thing, build it up. So build it up very slowly until you feel your muscles working more. And just repeat for about 10 to 15 minutes per day, and make sure this is before a session as well. So you would get a lot of benefit from doing this before a session, but you'll also get a lot of benefit from doing this like just at some point in the day as well. The good thing about these exercises as well is they don't really need much of a warm-up. You could just sort of go into these, but then again, you could do the mobility part first and then go into this as well. So the way I would recommend to do it is do like the climb exercise. So let's just say we do 30 seconds each side. So each side, 30 seconds each side on the side plank, and do 30 seconds of those plank rocks. You'll really feel your muscles working there. And you can just do that for three full rounds. So top 3 mobility exercises. So similar to what I was just saying about the core exercises, this part is all videoed as well, and you'll see it on the members site. So in this part, pause longer compared to strength exercises, ideally for 60 to 90 seconds in each position to get a deep stretch. So the idea of the mobility exercise is to get a deep stretch on the muscle. It's not just to do, say, 30, well, maybe you might need 30 seconds actually if you are really tight. But the idea is to not just do it and move on. The idea is to really do it and feel it and get that stretch. So ideally, like 60 to 90 seconds. But when you first do it, you might need to just do 30 seconds to really just slowly build yourself into it. But build up the stretches slowly as your muscles will take time to warm up and sort of mobilize more. And be consistent and repeat. You've got to do it every day. There is no point doing this once a week because, as you'll see on my last slide, doing this, 15 minutes of doing this compared to 70 hours of sat down is just not gonna work. So you need to do this and be consistent and repeat it every day. So these are your 3 sort of mobility exercises which we do in our benchmark sessions. So the pigeon pose, and again your glutes getting a good stretch in here. Your IT band, which you can't really see it, but basically it's the band that goes. It's like a hard tendon that goes from your hip bone down into the knee. A lot of runners have problems with this, and it becomes super tight and can become painful. And then you go to see Annette, and then, my God, it becomes even more painful because she will just make you cry with that exercise when you're stretching that. So the IT band is basically the tendon that goes down the side. And again, you want to do about maybe 5 reps each side with a 3-second pause. And that's just a really solid stretch. The video gives you different ways of making it easier and harder. The world's greatest stretch. This exercise is actually called the world's greatest stretch as well. And I think everyone knows why, because it is amazing. So the muscles used is pretty much everything. So as you can see there, like my hip flexors are stretching, my thighs are stretching, my core, my lower back's moving, my shoulders, my chest. So pretty much everything is working in this. And then once you sort of bring your elbow down onto the floor as well, just realized I've got a pointer. Ooh, look at this little bad boy. So once you then start to move more and like bring your elbow down to the floor, you really feel that deep stretch then. So it's got a lot of benefit to it. Okay. So yeah, so that's the world's greatest stretch. Works pretty much everything, and just really focus on getting a pause on each position. Like each position you move into, take a pause because you really feel the benefits. The hump and the dump, what a fantastic name. But the muscles used and like mobilized are your lower back. So as you can see here, get a nice bit of controlled flexion there. Your shoulders, so mainly your shoulder blades, get a nice bit of movement in there, and then your spine is getting a nice flexion as it goes into that movement, and then it's getting like a good bit of extension as you go back into the other movement, which will make sense once you watch the video. But again, this is really slow controlled. Take deep breaths as you're doing it, so that you're not just like doing it because it's meant to make you feel better. Take some deep breaths in as you're doing it, and then blow out, and then really get that movement in and around your spine, and you'll feel that a lot deeper. Cool. Top 3 mobility exercises. Smashing. And I was meant to have a part in there, which, let me see if it's, no. Right, so just like I did with like the plan, what I would recommend to do is, because this is more of a mobility part, and I'm recommending that you stretch for 60 to 90 seconds, what I would say is make sure you don't do this before an actual session, because the overstretching can it can't cause more damage, but it sort of puts you a little bit more at risk when you go to lift heavier weights. So before a session, you're better off doing sort of activating, engaging exercises. But then when you come to do these long stretched pauses and really stretching for 60 to 90 seconds, you don't want to be then going in and doing some heavy lifts, because you'll be too relaxed and stretched. So what I would recommend that you do is spend 60 to 90 seconds like in each position. So literally 60 seconds like that, 60 seconds on the other side, 60 seconds of like moving here, and 60 seconds on the other side, and 60 seconds of humps and dumps. So that'll take 5 minutes to do it, but you could just do that 3 rounds, and that's 15 minutes. So pause long when you do it. Take your time. The idea of this is to relax. And if you're more relaxed, your body will be more relaxed, your muscles will be more relaxed, and you'll get a better stretch. So don't see this as a workout. See it as something that's helpful, and it's helping you to relax. So something that I thought would be useful would be to sort of keep in track of like the pain. This is more if like you are in severe pain and you're finding it's just nothing's helping. Like create like a weekly like movement and stretch diary. So plan in your stretches and your walks like for a week, like what days and times, or at least what days, and then tick them off as you go. And if you're feeling pain one day, you can at least look at how active you've been, because you might be in pain today on a Wednesday. You look back like the last 3 days, you've done no stretching, or you've done barely any walking. Well, you know, right? Well, I need to get doing more stretching and more movement. So it's sort of like tracking your calories. If you are in severe pain, and you really want to work on it, maybe just track it for 7 to 14 days and just see how much movement you do. And just like when you're tracking your calories, the fact that you're tracking them will mean that you make more effort to do the actual exercise itself. So this could just be something useful to do, and or consider at least. Okay, so my very simple summary, it starts from the bottom for some reason. So my very simple summary would be to move, stretch, and strengthen daily. So don't just rely on your benchmark sessions. Do it daily. Injuries aside, a lot of pain does come from like tightness and a lack of movement. Now, again, don't get me wrong, resting has its benefits, but there's no harm in going for a walk, doing 15 minutes of stretching if you're feeling tight, or if you know after doing 5 hours of sat at a desk you're going to feel tight. Try and get some stretching and movement in first. So, injuries aside, a lot of back pain does come from tightness and a lack of movement. 15 minutes of stretching per week, like I just said, 15 minutes of stretching per week will not outstretch 70 hours of sitting. So if you spend, let's just say you spend 10 hours a day sitting, 15 minutes of stretching per week like is not gonna like have any effect on that. It's like imagine you were trying to get fit and you're doing 15 minutes of exercise a week. You're not going to become fitter because it's not enough. So you need to really work on make sure you're getting in doing 15, maybe build up to doing 20 minutes of stretching and a yoga session every week so that you are becoming consistent and your body's consistently moving and you should feel less pain then. Oh, there we go. Move, stretch, and strengthen daily. Awesome. Right. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to unmute yourself. If you haven't, just give me a thumbs up and
Mark, I'm wary about talking too loudly, given that you said I was. Am I really loud?
No, it's just that I didn't realize you were unmuted.
Okay. So, I have sort of low-level back pain, but it comes and goes. But Annette seems to think it's mainly to do with a sort of slight imbalance in my left and right side. So my right glute seems to be a lot tighter than my left glute, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And if I do more running than cycling or more cycling than running, it gets bad. So like when I get up in the morning, often quite stiff and painful and hobbling around. And then I do a bit of stretching and it eases off and it's fine. But it does seem to be fairly persistent.
Yeah.
And difficult, just, yeah.
I mean,
I'm doing a lot of stretching anyway. Like pretty much every day I'm doing stretching. What with the sessions and going for runs and going for rides and stuff.
I mean, I know you, Dom. I know you, Dom. I know how much. I know how much cycling you have definitely done in the past, and I'm not sure how much you do right now. But if you think about
not as much as I was because I'm doing more running at the moment, just because it's easier to get out.
Yeah. Well, if you think about cycling, you're literally in a slouch position, and you don't just go for 10 milers. You're going for bloody 50 milers. So you're in a slouch position for so long, so you can sort of see why like the back pain would come along. But going back to that very first, or one of the first slides that I said about like training what you train, where you fix what you can fix, and that's why I was saying like it's about managing the back pain. I don't think you'll ever get rid of back pain. My back's tight most days, so you have to sort of try and keep it at a level where it's not painful, but also be able to train in a way where you can still become stronger and you're not just spending the 45 minutes in the gym doing like those clams because that would just be pointless for 45 minutes. But you're good because obviously you're able to do a lot of strength training. So it is just a case of trying to manage it in a way that I suppose in a way it's you realizing that you likely are probably going to have back pain come or go at most days. It's managing it in a way that it's manageable and dealing with it. And so try not to think I need to get rid of this back pain because I doubt you'd sort of get rid of it sort of thing.
The stretching does make an incredible difference though. I mean, like if I do lizard pose and then a couple of humps and dumps and then a cobra and a child's pose or whatever, after 15 minutes of that, it's gone. It is incredible how that helps. Yeah.
Well, it's because like your muscles are literally tightening up, and in a way, it's like your muscles sending a signal to your brain that like I need to move, and then as soon as you move and those muscles like relax and stretch, it's relaxation, so that pain instantly goes. So the thing is, at least you know that it works, and it's like it's making sure that you can actually manage it in some way. Which it sounds like you are doing anyway, mate. So don't like. Oh, sorry, my screen's just gone up. Don't. I would just say don't think that you're going to get rid of it because I think, like I said, it's all about managing it in some way.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I guess it's just a thing, isn't it, that one has to live with as you get older as well. I think stuff starts aching in ways that maybe it didn't when I was 25.
Yeah, no, you're right, mate. You're definitely right. It's but you do a good job of it. You don't just think, oh, I'm not going to do it anymore, which some people could
Mm.
easily do. So you